Welcome to the Raleigh Board of Selectmen meeting for March 23rd, 2015. The time being 6:05 p.m., I call the meeting to order. Just a reminder that this meeting is being audio and video recorded digitally. We have a 6 p.m. executive session, and it's collective bargaining strategies, ASME Council 93, Local 2905. So we'll go into that. The chairman calls for a motion to go into executive session for the following purposes: to discuss strategies with respect to collective bargaining, because an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the town, and to return to open session. A selectman makes the motion, and it is seconded by another member of the board, and a roll call vote is taken by both boards.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye,
Roll
Robert
call
Snow.
vote. Aye, Robert Murray.
Aye, Joe Perry.
And we are now in executive session. And welcome back to the Raleigh Board of Selectmen meeting for March 23rd, 2015. And sorry for the delay, folks, but we had some other business to take care of. We are now in open session. And Bill, would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Bill. Citizens' query will be from 7:05 to 7:10. We do have some appointments tonight, and the first one is at 7 p.m., and it's Town Accountant Sue Bailey to discuss fiscal 16 budget.
Come on up.
Come on up, Sue.
Sue Bailey, Town Accountant. People don't know me.
Almost.
All right. Do you all have my budget?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Start on the top, Form 1. My salary is going up the 2 1/4, plus a little bit extra. It's a leap year, and the leap day falls on a work day this year. Next one is my assistant town accountant. I'm looking to increase her hours from 16 hours to 18 hours this year. And that's a 12.5% increase, I think. And the rest of that is both the union pay schedule and the leap day again. Gives a little extra percentage in there. That's why it's up at 16. That job's gotten a lot more complicated in the past. A lot more transactions, a lot more veterans payments, a lot more, well, pretty much done building the treatment plant, but now there's all the bills for running it. A lot more vendors. People used to buy somewhat locally, now we buy all over the country. W-9s we have to do more carefully now. The IRS is going to audit us probably, so a lot more tedium, I think. Probably the hardest one is misapplied payments. You get on hold with someone that won't talk to you and can't tell you where your check went. So it's a big time thing, doing that things. And if I can have more time on the other week, I'd like her to be able to help me with other projects that I do. Excel spreadsheets, whatever we need. Maybe do the W-9s because it happens at the same time as the audit. So it's a real busy time. So that's the increase in her line. And then on my expenses, I have small increases in the license I pay for my general ledger package. With that package, I get the general ledger, the accounts payable, which does the invoices and the checks, and then a bank file comes out of it as well, the bank check register. And that goes up a little each year. And then postage. So I have some fairly small dollar increases that lead to some big percentage increases. But overall, they're not dollar-wise, not really big.
Okay.
Anything else?
Any questions or comments?
No questions?
Just a comment, I think that she does do an awesome job, and I think the extra hours will help the office out.
Yeah, thank you, yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
It's a lot of work. Try and keep
We want to support you.
mistakes to a minimum, but checks do come back, do voids and replaces and whatnot. So just had a vet that's no longer eligible, so that sort of thing comes up. Just more time dealing with that. So yeah. Appreciate your support. And Thank you.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sue.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, street layout hearing. Is our next item. Can we go right to that, Deb, the street layout, or was that advertised?
That was posted in a notice to the abutters on the street, so we should wait.
Okay, so we should wait on that one. Okay.
Anything with an asterisk is approximate time.
Okay, we actually have one of the assessors here tonight dealing with the,
We do have citizen query now, that should be open.
yep, that's open. Actually, Citizens Query is open from now till
If
7:10.
there's anybody in the audience.
Is there anyone who wants to say anything? Don't hear anything.
Mr. Chairman, we have a comprehensive discussion, though, on old business number 2. So we should be able to handle that
Okay,
probably by 7:15.
all right, it's
The-
discussion,
Mr.
annual and
Demento's
special
here for that item.
town meeting warrant articles.
Take the chair. And do you all have copies?
Actually, we should. I just gotta get to the right folder.
For the regular town meeting, the only article that I have put in is for the municipal waterways, 50% of the municipal waterways maintenance improvement fund. That's of the 50% of the boat excise tax collected. And Debbie, the other articles, shall I leave them be, or?
Yeah, we have the standard articles, that's already on the warrant. So what Mr. Demento's here for, Mr. Chairman, is we have other things that they do need to talk about under this item. But the Harbor Master Bylaw Amendment, initially, he had directed that to the annual town meeting warrant. He would like to actually have that on the special town meeting warrant so that
Right.
those changes can be made swiftly and then sent to the Attorney General for review. Any bylaw change has to be approved by the Attorney General after town meeting approves it. So that may expedite implementation of those changes. So there's a draft of that on the last page of your packet.
The one I just sent through, Deb? Okay, thank you. I didn't make a copy of it myself. So the first one in there was for, because I actually had a wrong section number and when I originally submitted it to you
Okay.
and I updated them.
Okay.
The first one was on section 4, I believe,
Right.
of the harbor bylaws.
Yep.
And that was changing some verbiage. The next one was section 5, also changing verbiage on dinghy tie-ups. And then lastly, on section 6, was changing a fee for additional permit decals issued to launch ramp users. It was $3. We're looking to update that to $15 per additional decal. There have been some misuse of additional decals, and we're trying to curtail that process. And we're updating the decal fee, the additional decal fees from $3 to $15. The other updates to the bylaws, one was on tender tie-ups at the town launch docks. And that's a privilege. That's only for Raleigh residents that have approved moorings. And the fee is going up this year to $200. It's still a very good deal for somebody to have access to a mooring and a place to tie up their tender. The mooring fee is going up to $4 a foot, and the tender tie-ups for the season is $200 for the users. And then finally, violations. I don't see, what section was that in, Bob?
Section 5?
That's in section 5?
All right, no, I just.
Violations, yes.
The one sheet.
Section 5.
Okay, here it
You
is.
have-
Yes, right here.
Oh, there it is, okay.
We're going to strike the current verbiage at $50 per violation in this section and increase it to $75 per day for violations that include parking, town dock tie-ups, and missing mooring slip and private dock registration decals. The fee for launch ramp will be going from $50 to $60 this year. And with that fee increasing, parking violations have been at 50, and we need to move them up to be more in line with a true violation versus it being cheaper to take the violation
Take the
than it is to pay for the
violation.
permit. So the town's been very fortunate to have a private residential launch ramp for many, many years. We're trying our best to maintain it that way. We've not accepted any state funds for that very reason. The state would love to give us millions of dollars to improve it. We just don't have the land area or the capacity here in town to handle the added infrastructure. So we'll continue to maintain it as a private residential ramp, and we just need the residents to understand that it really is a privilege, and we're doing the best we can to keep those fees down.
Right.
But the cost of operating the river marker pipes, the river markers themselves, and obviously all the maintenance that goes along with it is going up. But it's all self-sufficient, the way we manage it today.
Bill, last year you mentioned that you had some violations, some parking violations. How did it go last year?
We chased them all, and we found a few that were still trying to sneak in from out of town. And we put the word around that we would tow if they were repeated violations. And to some extent, it was curtailed.
Okay.
Okay. Anything further?
No, sounds good.
All set with it, Joe?
Do I need to mention any of the other articles?
So, there will be a request for the Board of Selectmen, though, to increase fees, and we talked about that, possibly having that on the agenda next week.
Next week, because we didn't get it in
For
for
the
this
new,
week.
for the boating, upcoming boating season,
Right.
which starts, believe it or not, in
Yeah.
I guess a
Anytime,
week or
anytime that
so.
we can get on the river, and we
know.
cannot get on the river right now.
Is it still iced up?
It's still iced up
Wow.
as of this afternoon.
Wow.
So I suspect that with this warm weather coming,
Coming
we'll
this
be,
week.
within the week, we'll be able to, the clamors will be able to go down again.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
good.
still start to break up.
It's breaking up pretty good now with the hot sun,
Okay, good.
but we've got a ways to go.
Yep.
And lastly, Mr. Chairman, we were just working on the capital plan, and we did not have sufficient funds to fund the wharf repair project
Right.
because the budget was, not substantial enough to cover that. So we're working on combining that into maybe one capital article, that and the funds necessary to meet the 25% of the state matching grant for the new pump-out boat, which is a really beneficial to the town, since
Yep.
that was on the capital list as an outright purchase for, I think, a few years down the road when we had money. So that and the money that we need for the gangway project, since the dock project did not have enough funds to cover the gangway
gangway.
piece of that. So we probably looking at the special town meeting for funding on the capital plan, as part of the capital plan.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
So we need to vote on this article?
If the board wants to take a vote to support the bylaw changes, I will have them reviewed by the town's attorney, and get this on for the special town meeting warrant, which closes on Monday,
Okay,
a week from today.
I'll give you that motion, Mr. Chairman.
motion made
Second.
and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Bill.
I'll be
Thanks,
back
Bill.
next week to go over the fee updates. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, there are other items under old business number 2
Yes, there is.
that the board needs to address.
Okay, we also have annual town meeting. We have all the standard articles. We have an article creating a new tax title revolving fund submitted by the treasurer collector.
And so then, there's one that we need to have the selectmen approve, and this was presented by Vice Chairman Joe Perry. Since the 375th anniversary of the town was completed, and they did a good job of collecting money to hold some of the parade and concerts and other activities as part of the town celebration. There is a balance in that revolving account. And the vice chairman has suggested that we close out the 375th anniversary revolving fund and combine it with the existing Board of Selectmen activities revolving fund and make a sort of a new revolving fund that would be under the Board of Selectmen. So there's some draft language there that the board should review. And that, I've got on the warrant and that can be edited. But I just wanted to make sure the board was fully aware that that was the intention of the vice chairman.
Basically, we had summer concerts. We had 6 concerts every other Saturday night starting in June. And we have some funds left over, and we'd like to have some summer concerts with the funds left over. And in order to do that, we'd like to remove the revolving fund for the 375th anniversary committee and create a revolving fund for the recreational programs and community events. And we could transfer those monies into it.
Okay. Any questions?
None?
None? Okay.
Make a motion?
So you gonna make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Okay.
So there was also a discussion, the moderator had asked for a bylaw amendment, town meeting bylaw amendment, to reduce the quorum from 100 to some other number. So there's an article on there. The suggestion is 70 on that town meeting article. And getting to the special town meeting, we discussed the harbor master bylaw amendment. The planning board is waiting for a vote from the Board of Selectmen to approve or to direct them to hold a public hearing on an overlay flea market district.
Yeah, basically, we recall, we had a gentleman come in and request a flea market license. And
Yes.
it was in the outlying
Yes.
district, which flea markets and things like that are not allowed at this point under the zoning in the outlying district. There was some discussion about changing the district itself to the central district. The zoning review committee did not vote to do that or request that. So the committee did suggest that we do an overlay district. And we didn't have a public hearing, but we had a hearing, and the neighbors were notified, and they came in, and they all kind of agreed that the overlay district would be more palatable to them in their area than the central district would be. So at this point, the planning board would like to hold a hearing to be able to put this on the warrant. So we need a vote to allow them to do that.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay.
And then we'll have street acceptances, so tonight you do have the wild pastures
Yes, and we
estates, so,
are
and it's
actually
probably time
scheduled
to start on that, Mr. Chairman.
at 7:15, and we're just a little bit beyond that.
Do you want a motion on the quorum? Vote?
What's that? The quorum vote?
Yeah.
Do we want to vote the quorum, change the quorum?
Well, unless you would like the moderator to come in at next week and explain the
I think that
article.
maybe it would be a good idea if we could
Okay.
get her to come in and explain it to
Sure.
us, and we could come up with a number that she's looking to do.
Okay.
We typically have 100. I don't know how many folks really attend town meeting, but every town meeting, we don't get a quorum at 7 o'clock to get started, so it's always about 10 short, and we're running around trying to find people and pull them off the street, and et cetera, et cetera. So if we can maybe drop that down a little bit, it'll maybe go smoother. Because we're just kind of hoping, at least she thinks it will. So, okay. So the next one is the public hearing for the street acceptance. Get rid of that. This over. Okay, street layout hearing, West Pasture Lane and Oak Ledge Circle and Arrowhead Circle. We have a notice of the hearing. And it's the Raleigh Board of Selectmen notice. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 82, Section 22, notice is hereby given that the Board of Selectmen will meet on March 23rd, 2015, at 7:15 p.m. at Raleigh Town Hall, 139 Main Street, Route 1A, Raleigh, Massachusetts, to consider and vote upon whether to lay out the roads known as Wild Pasture Lane, Oak Ledge Circle, and Arrowhead Circle, situated on Weathersfield Street and shown on a plan titled Street Acceptance Plan, Wild Pastures Estates, a definitive open space residential development off Weathersfield Street, Raleigh, Mass. This being the roadway shown on a plan titled Wild Pastures Estates, a definitive open space residential development, Weathersfield Street, Raleigh, Mass, recorded with Essex South District Registry of Deeds as Plan 75 in Plan Book 386, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to acquire a gift, deed, or eminent domain, the land, easements, and rights therein, or take any other action relative thereto. The street acceptance plan for Wild Pasture Lane, Oak Ledge Circle, and Arrowhead Circle is available for review in the office of the town clerk. So we also have the copy of the plans here. Make sure we don't dump that over. There's the plans, and this is Wild Pasture here.
Come up from Weathersfield Street here.
Yep. There's my answer here. Okay, the chairman will call for a motion to open the street layout hearing on Wild Pasture Lane, Oak Ledge Circle, and Arrowhead Circle.
I'll give you that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The planning board has referred the roads in this development for acceptance by the town. The chairman will read a letter from Highway Surveyor Patrick Snow to the planning board into the record.
Page 4.
And this is Town of Raleigh Highway Department, March 23rd, 2015. Dear Planning Board, re-acceptance of Wild Pasture Lane, Arrowhead Circle, and Oak Ledge Circle. I'm sorry, Oak Ledge. And there is a circle too, I believe. Wild Pasture Lane, Arrowhead Circle, and Oak Ledge Circle meets all of the Raleigh Highway Department's requirements in regards to sidewalks, pavements, grading, gutters, curbs, drainage, lot drainage, street signs, plantings, and seeding. Sincerely, Patrick Snow, Raleigh Highway Surveyor. Okay. The board reviews the street acceptance plan, and it is this plan that's right in front of us.
Okay.
And that's the page one. Easy, there you go. There we go.
Arrowhead.
Yep, comes into that line, and this is a big continuance of
Yeah.
Wild Pasture, and I'm assuming this is Oak Ledge down here.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
Conservation restriction down area 28. 2B. Is that
Yeah.
2B? Yeah, 2B.
This is the Oak Ledge.
That's Oak Ledge at
Yeah,
the top.
this is the Wild
Yeah.
Pasture that comes into it. The easement there.
Here.
Okay.
Conservation restriction.
Yep. Okay. Is there anyone in the audience has any comments or wants to look at the plan or? Yep.
You stated that seating was done?
Excuse me, could you state, I'm sorry, can you state your name, please, and your address?
Yep, Matthew Carter, 31 Arrowhead Circle,
Thank
Raleigh,
you.
Mass. 01969. The seating was done, however, it needs to be redone.
I think probably Pat's here in the audience with us tonight.
It'd be great.
Is
You
this-
could look at,
I can take a look at the seating in the spring. When I saw it in the fall, everything looked fine while I was up there. I mean, there was still
Okay.
some construction going on
Okay.
while I was up there. So, but as of right now, I can't get any idea of how the grass is growing.
because, I mean, if you were to go out, you'd be able to see it. It's very clear in certain areas.
Okay.
All the area is full of rocks and sticks, and very poor quality dirt.
Now, is this a portion that would be, that's town property, or is this private property out there?
This is the argument that's before us right now.
This is an argument I'm unaware of, sir, to be honest with you.
Well, do you know where it is on the plan? Which part of the development is this?
I would say probably 95%,
So-
is the area where
You need to have them pointed out, Mr. Chairman.
Well, 95% is gonna cover the whole project,
On the
so.
road, the pavement, or if, I think we have Attorney Laura
Yeah.
Talaro's here.
I'm here on behalf of Wild Pasture Estates and LLC, and Jim Georgelakis is here as well.
Okay,
So if you can show on what part of the plan.
Can you come for, yeah,
Sure.
could you
It's
show
where
us?
it's where the curbing meets the side, the stretch between the curbing and the sidewalks.
where all the construction
On
was
Grayboat
done.
and 31 Arrowhead Circle,
So is
that's
it,
all.
All the way, you're saying?
On Arrowhead Circle, I can only speak to, because that's where we live. Just needs to be rehydrated.
I've got a
Come back,
smaller
let's come
version
back.
of the plan if it's easier to,
That might be.
yeah, this is Arrowhead here. Okay,
Sir, could you state your name for the
Sure,
record?
Grayboat and 31 Arrowhead.
Thank you.
Along the area, there was curbing put in, and then there was a few feet of grass. It was dirt and then grass, and then the sidewalks were put in,
between.
all around the sides in here. And it's just dirt, you know, it's full of sticks and rocks. It was hydro-seeded, but it was very quickly done, and it didn't sprout.
Just
And-
late in the season, I think is the big thing.
Would it go late in last season?
Yeah, just before it really had time to germinate. And again, because of the construction, because of the paving, because of the curbing put in, it's no one's fault, certainly.
I was also instructed by other members of the community that it's also on Oak Ledge Circle as well as Arrowhead Circle.
Okay, up in the upper part.
Yeah, this is.
Yes, up in here.
Oak
And
Ledge is the next.
presumably in Wild Pasture Lane itself. So the sidewalk goes around the outer side and all along this section right in here, because this is the curb was put in. And then you have, a small gap probably right out to this little section here.
this is the lot line. So the road,
Correct. However, it is not showing the sidewalks that have been put in.
they're on
in
the
this
inside of
schematic?
this line though.
This is the maximum width of the road.
Yes, this is not the edge of
right way.
pavement.
This is
Okay,
right
so this
of way.
isn't accurately showing
It
the
shows the
design of
layout.
the
It does not
street
show the edge of
and the
pavement.
curbing, and also the sidewalks is not obviously showing here. Is
No,
what I'm
because
getting
this is
at.
a conveyance plan. It's not
Okay.
supposed to show on this.
Correct. So as you can see, there's obviously room for confusion.
So, what do we think?
Well, the loomed areas in between the sidewalk and the street,
So
and the
that's-
shoulders,
It's
were
gonna be,
loomed with screen loom, and they were hydro seeded. Some came up, some didn't. Springtime, we're gonna get more germination, and if it needs to be re-hydro seeded and raked out with, a few vehicles drove over it a little, we're gonna go in and clean up the little bit of the edge and re-hydro seed
The-
areas that don't sprout up in the
plan,
spring.
yes, the planning board's holding back $25,000 of the, his bond
Okay,
for contingencies.
so he said he would take care of it in the spring when things get a little better and they can,
I also
Yep.
live, Chris Laird, 6 Arrowhead Circle.
Okay.
It was also in front of my property too. Needs to be hydro-seeded again.
well, I think he'll probably do the whole project from what he said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see what starts to come up in the springtime
Okay.
and what
If
needs
it-
additional hydro seeding, we'll have
Take
it,
care of all
applied.
the spots that might need it.
And as you've heard, there's $25,000 of the bond are being held by the planning board. Okay.
Okay,
I just want to make sure it was addressed.
thank you. Does anybody else got any comments? Hearing none? We're sure now, because I'm gonna close the hearing.
What does this all encompass?
Excuse me?
Is this just the roads itself,
Yes,
or is it handing over the whole property?
the trust.
This is for the acceptance of the road.
Just the
which will
roads
go-
itself.
which will-
Road acceptance.
Acceptance, which will go to, on the town warrant.
Yeah, this isn't the final. This will have to go to town meeting.
Yep.
To go to town meeting, so. Okay, I'll call for a motion to close the hearing.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor of closing the hearing signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carried. The chairman will call for a motion to lay out Wild Pasture Lane, Oak Ledge Circle, and Arrowhead Circle as town ways. Motion is attached and must be read. Selectmen need to vote and sign the vote, and this will be filed with the town clerk, and an article will be placed on the town meeting warrant for acceptance of the road. Okay. It's Board of Selectmen meeting, March 23rd, 2015. Motion to lay out town ways, as town ways, Wild Pasture Lane, Oak Ledge Circle, and Arrowhead Circle. I, blank.
So
Move-
we will need somebody to make this motion,
Somebody make the
Mr.
motion.
Chairman, other than you.
So if,
I, Joseph Perry.
Okay.
you want to read it?
Sure.
Mr. Perry.
You got it right there, Fanny? Okay.
Yep. I, Joseph Perry, move that Wild Pasture Lane, Oak Ledge Circle, and Arrowhead Circle, as described as follows, be laid out as town ways, and I further move that the town administrator be directed to promptly file with the town clerk a copy of the vote to lay out Wild Pasture Lane, Oak Ledge Circle, and Arrowhead Circle as town ways. That the private ways known as Wild Pasture Lane, Oak Ledge Circle, and Arrowhead Circle, situated on Weathersfield Street and shown on a plan titled Street Acceptance Plan, Wild Pastures Estates, a definitive open space residential development off Weathersfield Street, Rowley, Mass., to be recorded herewith, this being the roadway shown on a plan titled Wild Pasture Estates, a definitive open space residential development, Weathersfield Street, Rowley, Mass., recorded with the Essex South Registry of Deeds as Plan 75 in Plan Book 386, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to acquire by gift or deed the land, easements, and rights therein located with the above referenced Wild Pasture Lane, Oak Ledge Circle, and Arrowhead Circle.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. So, someone will need a bit of pen.
Okay.
Grab that one.
Okay, sure. We'll roll this up, Mr. Chairman.
Let me stand up and do it.
Sure. Thank you for coming in. Thank you. Thank you.
Brent. Brent, come up here.
Put that in. Find it later.
There we go.
Thank you.
Almost on time here, Mr. Chairman.
It's getting close there. Okay. So that takes care of that one. Our 7:30 appointment is a public hearing, multi-hazard mitigation plan, and Brent is here. You folks probably received one of these in your mail last week.
Yes.
Did you have a chance to look through it and read it?
Joe Cosgrove from the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission is here also.
Is he okay?
Joe, you ready to come up here?
Sure.
Good to see you again, Joe.
Good evening. Hi.
Hi, Joe.
Bob, good to see you. Joe Cosgrove, Merrimack Valley Planning Commission.
Thank you.
Hi.
Okay, do you want to give us a little,
Sure, I
update
can give
on
you an
this?
update, and this is really the, I guess, the penultimate step in an update process. We actually have a regional hazard mitigation plan that was done in 2008. That plan actually expired in 2013. And back in 2012, 2013, we started the process of updating. The plan has just been The draft plan has just been completed, incorporate a lot of the comments that came through that process. It's important because it makes the region, it makes the communities eligible for FEMA and MEMA hazard mitigation grant funding. And of course, given the winter like we've had these last couple of months, and there's, pending, if there is a disaster declaration, the communities are eligible for, one, actually, in terms of cleanup costs post-storm, but also particularly to have a plan in place for if there is mitigation plan money made available. And there are standing programs. They're often very competitive. One of the things to even get in the gate is to have an approved plan and to make sure your projects are included within that plan.
Okay.
So there are 14 communities within the plan. Rowley, all of the community cities and towns within the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission region are in the plan, except for Amesbury. Amesbury actually got a separate grant to do their planning process, so they're in a different category.
Oh, okay.
So it's critical. So there, as I say, the existing plan has lapsed last year. There's kind of, especially with some of the damage done from this winter storms, there's kind of an imperative to get the plan approved so that there are so many towns with grant, who have been awarded grants, and those are, there's concern that those will be delayed because, the plan is not
up to
formally
date.
approved.
Right. Okay. Brent, do you want to add anything to that?
Well, yes, if I may. Thank you very much, Chairman. I wanted to comment on the local process, which has involved department heads and representation from various portions of town government. The building inspector, fire chief, Chief Broderick is with us this evening. Police Chief Barker was involved. Pat Snow, Highway Surveyor, was involved. Frank Marciani, representing the Board of Health. Myself, representing the Conservation Department, and also Kirk Baker, our town planner, representing the Planning Board. The process of developing a plan also allows the community to do sort of a retrospective review of areas where they have seen storm damage or flooding or other aspects of the few natural disasters that have visited us on a lesser scale, not such that we needed to declare a federal emergency, but it also allows us to look at our bylaws and also our operational methodologies to adjust them in regards to response to this. So it's not just a paper plan per se, it's also a good process where it allows us to review things and see where we've had problems or where we believe there's room for improvement, and also allows us to look at our facilities, especially in regards to the facilities and equipment that we might need to mobilize or have available to respond if there is a natural disaster emergency.
Okay. So our next step.
So the next step would be, this is actually, the plan is actually in the queue to, it first gets reviewed by the local communities.
Okay.
And it's also simultaneously being reviewed by the State Emergency Management Agency. Once they approve it with their comments, they're obviously gonna have comments that we're gonna respond to and work with Brent and the local teams in responding to those comments, any review comments that they have, which we expect to get in the next month or so. Then they submit to FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and once FEMA approves the plan, conditionally, it goes back to the local communities, in which case you would be, in terms of the Board of Selectmen and the city councils, would be approving the plan, formally approving the plan. That would start the 5-year eligibility date.
Oh, very good.
Plan. So you'll see this again. So
Yeah, well, that's good.
The step tonight would be your preliminary approval of the draft plan as it currently is
In its form.
drafted.
Yep.
What's the timeline on all of that?
That's a good question. We're hoping that will be expedited. I think the folks at NEMA it is in review right now. We're hoping to get those comments within the next 30 days.
Okay. Is there any other questions? Or
Just
does anybody
say
in the
that,
audience have any questions?
Mr.
Hearing
Chairman,
none?
we have
Yep.
2 written submittals in your packet. One from the town planner and one from the health agent.
Okay.
Just,
Yep. Health agent is to send us a letter. It says, I reviewed and revised multi-hazard mitigation plan. The concerns of the health department were addressed and all of the major changes we discussed were made. We have no additional recommendations for the plan. Please let me know if I may be of further assistance. Sincerely, Frank. Okay, and this is from
We have a memo from the town
The
planner.
next one, next page.
next page. Okay, town planner. Honorable Board of Selectmen, Kirk Baker, town planner. 2015 multi-hazard mitigation plan for FEMA review. The planning department has reviewed the multi-hazard mitigation plan, and I offer the following minor revisions to the table on plan page 210 under the section entitled Recent Development Activity in Rowley. The subdivision residence at Rowley Country Club consists of 18 residential townhome duplex buildings for a total of 36 residential units rather than the 45 units cited by the table. The subdivision Wild Pasture Estates consists of 28 rather than 29 single-family residential units. The site plan depicts 30 total lots. However, these were 2 pre-existing residential dwellings currently located at 15 and 20 Wild Pasture Lane. Respectfully, that were previously assisted by a shared driveway. As part of the OSRD plan, these 2 parcels were incorporated into the plan, which each being situated on a new parcel located off the newly created Wild Pasture Lane. Beyond the above cited revisions, I find the document to be satisfactory from the planning perspective. So I'm assuming those have been made already?
I'll
We just
double
wrote
check, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, those actually
But those
have to
are,
be
we can
made.
easily make those
Okay,
changes.
okay.
We did, Mr. Chairman, receive an email that's not in your package from Chief Barker endorsing the approval of this plan by the Board of Selectmen.
Okay. So, that pretty much takes care of it then, right? Is there anything else we're supposed to read?
So
And
I
the
was
plan
gonna
itself
have
is here.
Mr. Bazelak take you through the logistics of the approval process here. If there needs to be any vote tonight on this draft. Brent, if you could please.
Well, yes, we do wish for the selectmen to consider making a motion to submit this draft and obviously now incorporating the few tabular revisions mentioned by our town planner and therefore support its submittal to FEMA for their review and comment.
Okay, is there any further comment from the board?
I'll make
Just
that
a
motion.
Questions or suggestions?
I just, at Merrimack Valley Planning Commission, Joe did a great job in his presentation, the slides you put together in the plan. So thank you, Joe, for what you've done.
Very
And
good.
Brent, always thank you for.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll give you that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Actually, you can make a second.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear. I'll give it the second.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate that. Motion made and seconded to accept the draft. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Good seeing you
Good to
guys.
see you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Nice
much.
to meet you. Thank you.
Right, buddy?
Can I be of further service to the board this evening?
I don't see your name on here again, Brent, but if you want to stand by or whatever, that's fine, or you can go home.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brent.
Thank you very much.
Brent, thanks. Thanks, Brent.
Sir.
Wow, on time.
We're right on the money at this. Look at that. 7:45. And we have a 7:45 appointment with Mo Labassa to discuss Eris Park Playground, but Mo has a stand-in tonight.
Yes.
How you doing, Tim?
Good, how you
Hi,
doing?
Tim.
Mo unfortunately has a friend in the hospital, so she couldn't make it tonight.
Oh.
So I will be speaking on behalf of Solve for Stephanie and Park and Rec. So, as you know, in 2000, starting back in 2010, Solve for Stephanie has worked really hard trying to update and clean up the playground at Eris Park, not only for the town, but in memory of Ron's wife, Stephanie, who was one of the original planners of the park when it first was built. Unfortunately, you know, up until the last few years, it kind of was in discord. So since 2010, Solace has spent almost $50,000 in renovating the playground and adding to the structures and cleaning it up and bringing it up to current safety standards and handicap standards. At this time, the main structure, the original structure that was built, needs to be replaced. The posts that are there are beginning to rot. If you go down there with a screwdriver or a knife, you can put it right into the pressure treated where it sits into the ground. It's just starting to deteriorate. So it's becoming a problem, and we knew this was coming for the last couple of years, so we've been kind of planning to try to do something. But the cost of the structure, we're looking at somewhere in the vicinity around $30,000, is beyond the means of Solace and Stephanie to be able to do. And we're looking for the town to try to put forth that money through capital improvements to be able to work on the structure. And through the time that we spent down there, all the structures are built via volunteers. That would continue with this next stage that we're hoping to do with the town's help. Like I said, Solace has spent close to $50,000. That doesn't constitute the donations that Ron and Mo and myself have gone out. You know, light department, anytime we have a work to be done or holes to be drilled, they come down and help us out. So it's been a really great community effort. But moving forward, we really need the town's support to be able to move forward with this next phase and you know, bring the main structure up to safety codes and get it up to quality specifications.
Okay, we have received your request, and the capital planning committee is looking at it as we speak.
Okay.
And we're going to try to fit it right into the budget on the special, so
Okay.
that it can get done before the summer gets started.
Excellent.
So once we get on the special, if we can appropriate that, the funds will be available immediately rather than waiting for the fiscal year 16.
Okay.
Okay, so we're looking at that very closely.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent.
Is there anything else?
I know this was on the capital plan, anyway, we had it when we first started doing the capital planning, so it is on schedule, along with the baseball diamond work that needs to be done
Can
at
we
Eris
speak on that or
Park.
not?
So there would be just one general appropriation for that piece of the capital plan.
So those would be together?
Yes, so, yeah, I'll
That way
be
if one runs over and
working
one
on-
doesn't, then
Okay.
we can, you know, use the funds to do those two projects.
Excellent. Okay.
So that will be something that the selectmen will finalize probably sometime next week.
Excellent. Okay.
Okay.
So that doesn't have to go to town meeting?
It does.
That goes to town meeting?
The selectmen would have to approve the article.
Okay. Okay. Would that need to be presented?
No, you're making your presentation
No,
tonight.
okay.
It's already been on the capital plan, it was
Okay.
been on there from last year.
Okay.
So it was rolled over.
Okay.
So, when Mo had called about that and we spoke about it, I looked it up, it was already on there.
Okay.
And was scheduled for the upcoming fiscal year.
For the second year of the
As
plan.
they,
Okay.
yep.
Yep.
So there's just a team working, the team works and just updates the plan.
Okay.
So that will be presented to the selectmen on the warrant.
Okay. Perfect. Excellent.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate it too.
All right.
Thank you very
All your
much.
help.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's our last appointment.
The door has to be open, sorry. Open meeting.
My back together here. Okay, so our next order of business is general business, and it's a request from Board of Cemetery Commissioners to lift hiring freeze for seasonal labor. And it's dated March 12th to Board of Selectmen, please lift the hiring freeze for the cemetery department to hire a seasonal employee. Thank you, Peter Delzell, Bill Gaynor. Any discussion?
We need somebody for this, for the season, so.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be coming up pretty quick.
Yeah.
So,
I see no problem making the motion.
You're gonna
I can make the motion.
be, okay, I'll second.
motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, item number 2, letter from Fire Chief James Broderick, email of application for Christopher Badalaro. What did they find? I'm not sure what that is. Is that you folks? No?
No.
Okay. Let's see. Members of the board, I received this email from Mr. Badalaro thanking the fire department, police department, and the building inspector on their quick response to collapsing roof on his garage. The quick actions led by Mr. Badalaro saved his car. The quick actions led to Mr. saving his car. Okay, the quick actions of the departments that answered the call, it saved his car. I am forwarding this email to you to recognize the following for their professionalism in aiding a resident during a stressful situation. Police Department, Jeanne McClug, dispatcher, Robert Adams, patrolman, John Raffey, patrolman, Inspection Department, Ken Ward, building inspector, Fire Department, and I have to recuse myself on that one. Yeah, but I will read his name. Roger Mary, Deputy Fire Chief, Mark Emery, Captain, and Mark Winfrey, firefighter. I will make myself available to the board to discuss this call at the board's convenience. Respectfully, James C. Broderick, Fire Chief, Town of Raleigh. Okay. So I can read you the email that was sent. I'm sending this email in hopes that a commendation will be forwarded to the appropriate parties involved on March 6, 2015, which happened to be my wife's birthday. Not mine, but his. Higher temps and rain added substantial weight to my aging garage, and a collapse was intimate. To happen to be my wife's I'm on the wrong sentence. My insurance company's emergency services could not be depended upon. Fearing the potential of electrical fire, I called the police department and expressed my concerns. The response team, comprised of police, fire department, and the building inspector, quickly arrived, assessed the threat, and acted. With the pending collapse seemingly moments away, the 2 firefighters cut my garage door off so I could remove my beloved Toyota sedan. Probably not part of their job, but they thought nothing of it at all. I just wanted to express my gratitude for the gracious acts of our civil servants who may sometimes go unnoticed, but never by myself and my family ever again. Please be sure to forward this to all the departments involved. With best regards, Krista Badalaro. Okay. It's nice to hear that people appreciate the fact that we have a very good group of first responders.
Yes. I'll give a motion to send letters of appreciation to those parties involved.
Yeah, we could do that.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made and seconded to recognize the folks that have participated in that incident. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye. Sorry,
You're
I was
opposed.
out of two. No, I'm not opposed. I'm in favor, but I was late.
You were late, okay. And I should
I
recuse
was
myself
reading.
because one of those members happens to be my brother. So
Yes.
I will recuse myself from the.
Do you abstain?
Yes.
Abstain.
Yeah. Yeah, just so we don't get into trouble.
Sure.
Okay, general business number 3, letter from Friends of the Raleigh Public Library replacing of book sale signs. Dear sirs, each year, the Friends of the Raleigh Public Library organize a book and bake sale to raise funds that are otherwise not covered by taxpayers to pay for a range of enhanced library programs. This year's fundraiser will take place May 1st to May 3rd, 2015. In past years, the Board of Selectmen have very kindly allowed us to install several signs on town property to increase awareness of the event. Once again, we are writing to respectfully request permission to place several lawn signs on town property. The signs are 24 inches by 18 inches, red and white print. We anticipate having the signs in place between April 24th and May 3rd. The Friends would be responsible for installing and removing the signs. We propose installing the signs at the following locations: in front of the library on Main Street, in front of the town annex on Central Street, in front of the water department on Central Street, on the island at Route 133 and Bradford Street near the Bradford Tavern, on the island at the beginning of Railroad Avenue, and on the island in the driveway at Eris Park. Thank you for your considering this request, and for your continued support of the Friends of the Raleigh Public Library. Please contact us should you have any questions. Tim Young, President.
Give me a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. I'd just like to add, if we could ask them, when we give them the form, to make sure that they don't block an intersection with the sign, if they could place it so that it doesn't interfere with the sight distance at those intersections, that would be very much appreciated. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Old business. Discuss fiscal year 16 water department budget.
Mr. Chairman, there's a new business item there.
I'm sorry, I skipped right over that, didn't I? You're right. So we'll move back to the new business, and it's a letter from Board of Cemetery Commissioners regarding vacancy on cemetery board. And this is March 12th, 2015, to Board of Selectmen. Please move to replace Jack Cook on the Cemetery Commission. An election would be preferable, is that what they're asking? Peter Dalzell, Bill Gaynor. I mean, I don't know how we
I
haven't.
think this is, he's serving his notice that a vacancy exists on the board.
Okay,
So the election, will be on the second Tuesday in May.
right, and
And
the
the
papers
process
have, I
for-
think it's too far beyond the takeout time. I think it was last Friday that, was it last
That's
Friday?
correct.
Last
Well,
Friday was.
Yes, and so I think that's ongoing and separate, I think, from this. If the board wishes to appoint somebody until the next election, that would be the only option available at this point.
I think so, yes,
We would have to
Yep.
post a notice.
yeah. And then we would have to find, request resumes.
Yes, if that, I think that's what Mr. Gaynor,
Okay, and we would need to do a joint meeting at some point in time.
that's right.
To make the other appointment. So, is there any other comment?
Have a joint meeting, yes.
Well, we would have, does the board wish to, been notified that there's a
Yep.
vacancy, so now we would need to post a
Post
notice
it-
of that
post a notice
vacancy.
of the vacancy.
There's no burials until when? I'm just thinking,
I'm not sure whether they set a date on it or whether
Yeah.
until the ground is.
And at one point that we were told they were doing winter burials, and then they
They s-
actually changed that and
ceased it.
stopped doing it. So
Right.
I'm not sure exactly when they plan on, it's probably gonna be up to weather conditions.
Weather conditions, the snow.
When the snow's gonna remove and clean things up there, so
I don't know if they put a date on it or.
I don't know if they have.
But there may be some planning and things like that they need to work on now to get ready
Mhm.
for, when the ground thaws and
Exactly.
get the operations set up. I know we just lifted the hiring freeze, so they will need to be interviewing, at some point for, 2 20-hour-a-week
Seasonals.
seasonal laborers.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Yeah, that election thing kind of threw me there a little bit.
I think it was just the wording on
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
I did explain to him that the board needed to notify the Board of Selectmen that the vacancy existed as part of the statute requirements.
Okay, so we want to that motion to post the position?
What do you think, Joe?
I'm not sure that the two remaining members of the commission can run the cemetery until the May election.
Are they
Well,
saying?
I-
Sure that they can't.
Well, the problem with the May election is that there's nobody that took out papers, is there?
No, I think there has been.
I think the.
Oh, there has,
person took
oh,
out
okay,
copy.
I'm sorry. I thought that there hadn't been anybody take out papers, that's why they were sending us this.
No, I believe there is.
So we have a candidate that's already out for election, so we
I
just,
think they were just looking to see if they could maybe fill that opening until the next election.
okay, so it's
Okay,
gonna
but
be,
there is an opening for someone whose term is up. But there is also, there is an opening for someone to fill the 2 years remaining on Jack's
the unexpired term.
unexpired term.
I'm not sure.
I believe I read that in the town clerk's office.
I'm really not sure.
Okay, I'm not sure either. I'm really not.
Well,
so.
are they asking by the letter, they'll wait till the election?
Well,
That's what it sounds like.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I mean, typically, if you get somebody that resigns midterm,
Right.
you would appoint somebody to fill that position until the next election.
Right.
So Mr. Cook did retire or did resign before the election.
Okay.
So typically, you would appoint somebody, and then they would either choose at the end of that particular year, with the next election coming up, whether to take out papers and run for the rest of the term, or just let somebody else do it. So I don't know exactly what they're trying to say here,
I
but,
believe Mr. Gaynor was looking to have that vacancy filled until the next election. I had a conversation with
Okay.
him, and I advised him that he would need to submit that notice to the Board of Selectmen.
right, so the next
And
election,
I understand the wording isn't clear,
yeah,
so that would be posting a notice and having the joint meeting between the Board of Cemeteries and the Board of Selectmen convene to appoint an individual,
right.
a registered voter to the open seat until the annual town election.
Right, and at that time, then that particular appointment would expire,
Right.
Correct.
yeah.
Yes,
But
I
they-
understood
they-
that.
The drawback to this is that the person, if we were to hold a hearing, have a meeting to appoint, then the person who we would ask the question, would you be running for the seat in May? This is only a temporary appointment until the election in May, and they couldn't take out papers because the time is already
Well, we
passed.
could always have the Board of Cemetery Commissioners come in and they give a recommendation also.
Yes.
That way,
That's true.
okay?
Yep.
I would make a motion that we have a joint meeting with the cemetery commissioners.
Well, we wouldn't have a joint meeting until we posted
Posted.
an
Oh,
opening
well,
and gave
posted,
due notice
if
so
you
that
can.
individuals that are interested would have time to submit it,
All
and
right.
then we would hold the joint meeting
Okay,
and
Okay.
maybe have them,
all right, let's do it that
interested
way.
individuals come in.
Okay,
um,
so we,
You you make the motion to post,
Make a motion to post.
and I'll second.
motion made and seconded, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carried. Okay. Now we can go to old business. And let's see, old business number 1 is discuss fiscal year 16 water department budget. We have a draft number 7 of the water budget. The water board is meeting this week to go over the results of the recent rate study. Once we receive the final water enterprise fund budget, we will review it and make a recommendation for town meeting.
So, Mr. Chairman, the board has that draft 7. I'm not sure if there's anything more at this point to discuss until we hear back from the water board, and I believe they're meeting this week.
They're supposed
So
to be, yeah.
they need to establish the revenue by categories, and give us that backup, so how, that's obviously water rates and other sources of revenue that they bring in every year, and establish that section and provide us with that along with the finalized budget, so that the Board of Selectmen can make a recommendation and have it printed in the town meeting warrant. If not, if we don't miss these timetables, just like last year, we'll have to do a recommendation from the floor
Yeah.
at town meeting.
They're meeting tomorrow night with the
I
finance.
believe it's sometime this week. It wasn't
Finance
sure.
board?
No.
No.
Not with us, no.
Not with you, okay.
They haven't, the board itself has not accepted the budget yet. They're going to be meeting on Thursday night.
Thursday night,
To
6
accept the
o'clock.
budget.
Okay, at 401
And
Central.
then it'll come,
Okay.
come through.
So,
Hopefully it'll
yeah,
come through.
I think the finance committee is at the same level of review that the selectmen are.
Okay.
They have the draft 7. Both boards have had the presentation
Mhm.
on the budget breakdown. And if anyone has questions, they can follow through on that. But we're just waiting at this point for a final budget, including the revenue information.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
So the next item under old business is number 3, which is discuss and evaluate lease of camp area proposals. And we need to hold off on this item because Mr. Peterson, who was on that review committee, was not able to make it tonight.
And I will have to recuse myself
Right.
from that.
So that's why we have to kind of hold off because there's only 2 here. So-
Could I make some general comments?
I would hold off at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, until we get Dave back on track, we can then review it
The proposals were just well
Yeah.
done.
as a
It
committee.
was just,
My
Extraordinary.
reason for recusal is I'm a member of the YMCA. I did switch.
Okay? Okay, so now we're down to fiscal year 16 budgets. And the first one on the list is Finance Committee. Do we really need to give Finance Committee a budget?
Let me direct that question to the back of the room.
We operate on charity.
Thanks, Larry.
Okay. How come your expenses went up, Larry?
You mean the finance committee's expenses?
Yes.
Too many meetings.
Okay. We,
So, Mr. Chairman, this was part of our budget plan. I did the wage increase myself.
Yeah.
That's pretty straightforward, just doing the calculations out of the personnel system that I use. And the department expenses are level funded. They have a modest expense budget. And we do want to increase the reserve fund to 75,000 because it is obviously not enough to cover what potentially could be an unforeseen situation in the town.
okay. So that and, yeah, the total expenses, okay, that's what I was looking at, the 50% increase, but that is the reserve
We've
account.
had 2
Yeah.
reserve fund requests so
Okay.
far this year for
Yeah, okay,
school and then, I forget what
The air
other-
conditioning
air
unit,
conditioning.
yeah.
which is right there.
We
Okay.
can take the air conditioning back if you want.
No, that'd be okay,
Yeah.
because you meet in this room also. And so if we're gonna be hot, the Finance Committee's gonna be hot.
We did
No,
transfer the money because we were concerned, because, the
Exactly.
cost of these kind of
That was,
unforeseen repairs.
we made that last transfer and
At-
we
at the town
specified
meeting.
that it would have to be replaced.
Because we were concerned, that was just, within the first quarter of the fiscal year, we're already dipping into the reserve fund. So
Right.
that really magnifies the situation with having, 50,000 in a reserve fund.
Right,
When you have
exactly.
a $14 million budget.
Yep.
Where things can go wrong, so that, the concern from the selectmen and the FinCom, I think, was right on target, because then we had the heating issue at the elementary school, which is even much more serious.
Exactly, yeah, particularly with this winter. We
And
wanted to
then
make sure
whatever
that got
things
taken
could
care
have
of.
come up if we had, vehicle damages and things like that.
Yep.
Which we didn't have out of any department.
Right,
So that was a goal of the town, anyway, to get that to at least some level.
Things happen.
okay.
cover some of these unforeseen situations.
Right. Very good.
Okay, any further discussion? Entertain a motion to
I'll make a
transfer?
motion.
I'll second that.
Motion made to approve the Finance Committee budget and transfer it to the Finance Committee for approval. How does that work?
No, it's already been reviewed.
Okay.
It's all set.
All right, the next one is the Agricultural Commission. And that one's pretty much straightforward right down the line.
Yeah.
I'll give you that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, there's no changes at all.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. That one can get transferred over.
Before you run off on that too fast.
Yep.
Their expenses year to date, $839 out of the 1,000 appropriated.
Okay.
And I know it's a very small sum, but they're like $160 away, and they'll be opening up the,
Did I hear you right?
what,
What did you give a figure? I didn't hear it.
$839.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Year-to-date
I just didn't hear
expenses.
For the fiscal year 15.
Right.
So when did they open, Larry? Do you remember? I mean, it's
They plan to, they probably open like in May. I know there's several of us that are out there in April.
okay. So those funds would only be good through to July. They would be good
Right.
to July. That's
Right,
when year
I just
15 ends.
I mean, Diana said that that's enough. I just wanted to make sure, that's all.
They have not requested an increase. They fell within the guidelines, and they do have a revolving fund.
You're probably
that they
planning
use,
on a revolving fund to help.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we should be okay, you think? Deb?
Well, she didn't indicate that, they probably had some planned purchases,
Okay.
that they've made over the course of the year. She
Yeah,
didn't indicate there was anything.
If they were happy with it, that's fine with us. So if they think they can make it work, that'd be good. Okay. So the next one is Harbor Master.
It seems to be within the guidelines.
Yep, the 2% raises and level funding.
I'll make that motion.
I'll give you a second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made and seconded to accept the Harbor Master budget. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. And the next one is Shellfish Constable and Shellfish Commission. And there again. We've had an increase in the expenses.
Mhm.
If they mentioned anything about that? Okay, there is a cell phone stipends that was added.
And then that note should say in FY15, I'm sorry, it was not 14.
Yeah, FY 15.
Cell phone, okay.
Okay, and that's the $600 per year. That's why the
Okay,
expenses
that's
are
why the
increasing.
increase
Yeah.
of the 600, okay.
Okay,
I'll give you that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
motion made and seconded to accept the Shellfish Constable and Warden Commission, I'm sorry. Budget, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Whittier Tech. That was, which was this one? That's actually another one there. This is the constable one we just passed, and we do have the commission one, which is basically
Okay.
in the right. The wages are level funded and the expenses are level funded. So we can take care of that one too at the same time.
Make a motion.
Motion made.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Now we're at Whittier. Okay, we have a Whittier VOTEC assessment, which is increased by 28.8%. the total capital assessment is up by 4%, and the total budget is up 26.9%.
We've added 3 students.
Yeah, that's more than likely the reason for that.
Right.
For a pupil amount, it's about $18,000. Is there any other questions or comments?
I'll give you that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Essex Agricultural School. Okay, we've got level funding at this point.
They will not have final enrollment data until next October.
That's correct.
Wow.
Currently, currently have 2 students that attend the school, and right now, there's so many slots that are open for out-of-district enrollees, and Raleigh is an out-of-district at Essex Agricultural Institute. That's our classification, and the students can only take agricultural classes there. So while there may be many applications that have been filed from the town, until they make those decisions, and there's, I guess, a substantial amount of applications that have been sent in that exceed the available slots. So they believe that this budget, if it was level funded, should cover the addition of, say, a 3rd student, and working on the fact that the other 2 stay in the system. So if things change, we will have to get an adjustment at town meeting.
Yep.
Give me that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, the next one is cemetery. It's, Physical 16 cemetery budget package, cemetery revolving
Mr.
fund
Chairman,
sheet.
that's just some notes that was sent out,
Okay.
if you wanna just jump to Form 1, please.
Okay. Cemetery wages and salaries. It's actually been increased by $200, if I can read this right. And that's probably about the rate for the wage action. And the expenses, I think, are level funded at this point. If I can make out what's there.
As the expenses are level funded at 5,000, the wages were increased by 200 to cover the cost of living, for a total budget of 25,200.
Okay.
So that figure on the page is wrong?
It's, it's 27 to.
27,200. Is it?
Yes, but if you add it up, it's
25.
25,200. I just went by the math.
Okay.
Because they did cross
They
out.
didn't put it in an Excel spreadsheet, but when I do, that's the math, so.
Okay.
And if you look, it's handwritten 5,000 for expenses.
On Form 3, he has 5,500 for supplies.
We discussed, there's an annual software license that, the cemetery department needs to purchase, so that's part of his budget. If you look back, the budget in fiscal 14, the appropriation, I believe, was about 2,600. Last fiscal year, the selectmen bumped that up to 5,000 to cover the almost $800 in software licensing that has to be done for their new cemetery specialized software. So they've level funded from fiscal 15 to fiscal 16, and he came back and he reviewed it and, Mr. Gaynor, and said the expenses are supposed to be 5,000. If the board would like to bring him in and discuss that, I think we'd have to schedule that for next week. And they do have the cemetery revolving account as well, that they can pay for wages. It's actually very liberally worded, it's for operations, so they can use that for expenses, gasoline, grass seed, whatever things, cement, things that they use out there for their work, as well as wages in the revolving fund, which has an expenditure cap of 20,000.
Explanation of
Well, there is,
the expenses?
I think there is an explanation at the back, the very last page, but I'm not sure what it really represents.
Yeah, it just says supplies.
No, we get this
Oh, well,
page here.
oh, it's not, I don't,
It's supposedly 14, it's supposed to be for the year 2014. Well, the actual fiscal year 15 is what this represents.
expenses were down in FY15, FY,
Well, we're going through, only through March instead of June. We've got 2 months left, although there shouldn't be much.
so as of March, it was $2,072. And usually,
So it's just
in
under.
FY14, it was $25.43.
But we're missing a couple of months in the
So
physical.
they have about $2,900, over $2,900 left in their account in the fiscal 15 budget. So I don't see why they would need an increase in the 16.
No, because and that's January, so I don't know if they've spent any more money since January, Joe.
Well,
It's that 2864 is up through January.
So I wouldn't imagine the cemetery's gonna open back up until probably late April.
I would,
So they'll have May,
June.
June.
and the end of July.
Yeah.
Actually, end of
I think
June,
they
July
plan
1.
to open
July
it
1 would be the.
April first,
April 1st.
right, from what I remember of the meeting. But that
Okay.
doesn't mean that the ground was usable, but I think that's what their
Okay.
plan was.
And there are funds in the revolving fund
Okay.
too, that does not wash out at the end of the fiscal year. So,
Right.
I mean, that balance stays in there.
Okay. So what's your pleasure?
Usually they use up the idea is that you would use your expense budget and then use the revolving fund after.
All right.
And that's for the operations of the
Give you a
of the
motion,
department.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, motion made.
I'd like to specify that we're putting in $20,200 for wages and $5,000 for expenses per the Form 1.
Okay, so you're gonna second that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion made and seconded, and all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, we're down to the Board of Health. Everybody looks to be in
No change.
no change at all.
Give you a motion for that, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made.
Shall I give a motion?
I'll second.
You all set? I mean, I want to make sure you feel comfortable with that.
I just question the 4.25% increase.
That has to do with the fact that the first week of the fiscal year starts on a Wednesday, and the employee that you're indicating that has that increase works Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We just had a similar one on the assistant town accountant when you met with Ms. Bailey.
Oh, and that's the leap year day?
There's a leap year, but also if you tend to work,
Then
and then
the
the last week of the fiscal year, week 53 actually ends on a Thursday.
Right.
So if you have an employee that's part-time that works Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you're gonna see this bump up because of the way the fiscal year starts and the way that it ends. And I believe I attached the payroll calculation sheets that show that in this case, that position works the 2 days on week 1 of Wednesday and Thursday come out to 13.5 hours.
Right.
And out of 18.5 hours, and then the last is a whole full week. Even though week 53 ends on a Thursday, so that's how it worked out.
Thank you very much.
No, I understand, because I had to do it, look at it several times to make sure I did it correctly.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next one is veterans benefits. And we do have some increases there because we've seen some increases in services to the veterans this past few months.
So, Mr. Chairman, the board has indicated that there's a need to increase the veterans benefit line. So I wanted to make sure that you discuss this and approve this before I send it out, because it's really your budget. Mr. Lennon, the director, suggested that I increase the veterans benefits line by 20%. That brings it to $66,000. And the assessment, he said, is expected to increase by 10%, and that would be a vote of the board, which Mr. Snow is on that board.
Yeah, growing number of veterans coming back requiring services, so.
This will be a big enough assessment to cover it, or?
Hopefully, yes.
Okay.
Keep our fingers crossed anyway.
Yep.
Okay. Any further discussion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And we have the Historical Commission and Historic District Commission, which is level funded.
I'll give you that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And the last one is not ready. Is that the debit?
The debt is not ready.
The
We
debt?
won't be able to get that done till next week.
Okay, we'll put that on hold. Okay.
That's it, Mr. Chairman.
I think we're under announcements.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, that's for tomorrow night. Might be interesting for some people in the community.
Okay. Keep my act together here. Announcements. The Central Street proposed reconstruction public hearing for highways with Highway Surveyor Patrick Snow and Norman Brown of Bayside Engineering is scheduled for March 30th, which is next Monday, at 7:30 p.m. at Town Hall. The town has the following vacancies: fence viewer, 3 positions, wood, lumber, and bark inspector, and zoning board of appeals associate, 2 open seats. Historical Commission, Historic District Commission, 2 seats. Parks and Recreation Committee, 2 seats. Open Space Committee is seeking members. And for information on these positions, please contact the Selectman's office at 948-2372. Rowley Food Pantry is in need of donations. The food pantry is open Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and Thursdays from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. And you can also drop off items at the library. The town meeting is scheduled for May 4th, 2015 at 7:30 p.m. at the Pine Grove School. Please attend. Rowley Recycles, Saturday, April 4th, 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Textiles, books, CDs. And there's also a list on the RCM channel and also the town's website of things that they will take and will not take. And that is going to be held at the Highway Department. And check out the library's website and Rowley Community Media for news on Rowley Reads program. And we also have another program going on at the Rowley Library. Eric J. Dolan, author of Leviathan, The History of Whaling in America. Tuesday, March 24th, 7 p.m., the Rowley Public Library, 141 Main Street, Rowley, Mass. Join us for this informative program and learn about the rise and fall of this New England industry. The history of the whaling industry affected American social, literary, and economic history and is filled with tales of adventure and danger, free and open to the public.
Yep, that's it. For some of the events we have this season.
Okay. And the Rowley Public Library, in the Heart of the Sea, the Tragedy of the Whale Ship Essex by Nathaniel Philbrick. And this is the Rowley Reads program. Recounts the story of the 1820 wreck of the whale ship Essex, which inspired Melvin's classic Moby Dick and describes its doomed crew's 90-day attempt to survive whale attacks and the elements on 3 tiny lifeboats. And there's a schedule of events that goes with it. It's Saturday, March 21st. There's a folk singer. I think he's already been there.
Yep, he has.
And Tuesday, March 24th is 7 p.m. Eric J. Dolan, which we just read his program. Thursday, March 26th, view the 1956 John Huston directed film version of Moby Dick starring Gregory Peck and as Captain Ahab. Saturday, March 28th, 2 p.m., Blue Ocean Society presents Ladder, an inflatable life-size fin whale, and the research they conduct with these amazing creatures. Tuesday, March 31st, 7 p.m., book discussion with author Holly Robinson. Thursday, April 9th, 1 p.m., book discussion with Holly Robinson at the Rowley Senior Center, Town Hall Annex, 39 Central Street. Thursday, April 9th, 7 p.m., Graham McKay of Lowe's Boat Shop presents a slideshow on whale boats, including the replica built at the shop in 2013. Children's crafts on April 2nd for grades K2 and April 6th for grade 2 and up at 4 p.m. Sunday, April 12th, 12 noon, enjoy a chowder fest created by Woodmans of Essex. Grand prize drawing of a whale watch for 4 will be raffled off. Attend any event to be entered in the raffle at Rowley Public Library. You can go to the Rowley site to get that. I believe it's also up on RCM, and I'm not sure if we get it on our website. It's on the town website also.
Thank you, Mr.
So, that brings us down to the final word, which is...
Would you like a motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman?
I would love a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that one.
Okay, with motion made and seconded. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody's opposed.
Not me.
We are adjourned.